Hello everyone, this is Grandpa Hickory. I hope all is well with you. I wanted to talk to everyone today in this video. Thank you for coming to my video. I appreciate you. You honor me by viewing my video, but I want to talk to you about the fear of the unknown. Now, this is something we all have in our lives. And don't try to play like you're super strong and you're a super individual that is above all that. And you're not scared of nothing. You're not afeared of anything. Friends, we all know that it's an act. We're all human. We all have our times that we come in contact with something that literally shocks us to our very being. We look around and to everything, our understanding, we cannot comprehend the fear of the unknown. Now, I've told this story before about back in 1957, we were outside in the summertime. School was out, and we was outside in summertime playing. I was a lad of a boy. I was 6 years old. And it had turned dark. My parents were inside the house having romantic moments, like they did back in the 50s. They would have music playing, and they would slow dance together, and they had little glasses of red wine, and, they had candlelight. And us kids to go outside, we got to play hide and go seek, and man, we had all kinds of fun playing outside at night. We were chasing lightning bugs. You ever chase lightning bugs and get them and tear the tail off and put them in a jar and they glow in the dark? That's sad. The little firefly gives its light. It gives its life. And we were just children. We didn't know any better. We didn't realize we were killing the little things by doing that. We were just having fun. But I never will forget that this flying saucer came flying. We had some power lines about 35, 40 feet above our backyard out by the field right at the end of our property. We lived way out in the country. And this was in Riley, Texas. Well, it's the Balch Springs area, way, way, way out. And this flying saucer was about that far above the power lines. It was skimming the power lines. It ran from pole to pole. And when it would come up to the pole, it would go up a little bit and then go back down. But it always maintained that same amount of distance. I've talked to a lot of people about that over the years. I remember some of the engineers that I worked with at work for years. I'd ask them questions about that, and they said, power lines emit an electromagnetic force that goes out like 4 to 6 inches from each line that is spaced apart. So the appearance of this thing, I was only a lad of a boy. I didn't know anything about things, but to me, somehow or another, that thing was extracting energy. But I shall never forget it. I was scared. I really was. It came right over, and I was going to holler, but something told me not to. And it tilted a little bit, and when it did, it had these foot-round windows all the way around it, at the top, around the top of it. And when it did, I looked up, and I could see inside that flying saucer. And I saw a metal cabinet. I'm telling you right now, it was a man-made metal storage cabinet, just like we had at school, that we kept our art supplies in school, in class. I'll never forget as long as I live. And I'm going to tell you right now, each one of those foot-round windows had rivets all the way around. I didn't know about rivets until I went to work at LTV Aerospace and Defense in 1985. Then I learned a lot about rivets when I had to work on the B1B program as a fitter and as a worker. Can't remember what they called it, but I was out there in the midst of all of it, and I learned a lot about rivets, and I couldn't help but think, this is exactly what I saw in 1957. But I'm going to tell you something. At that moment, at that time, it was the fear of the unknown. We hollered for our daddy, and finally he came out on the patio and said, "What, kids?" We said, "Look, Daddy, look." Well, it was already gone. It had done went past our property, had crossed over the dirt road, was gone. My daddy didn't know what we was talking about. So he made us all come inside. So, I will never forget that feeling that I felt of total, complete hopelessness and helplessness. I had no idea what it was. I knew it was not an airplane. And I was used to cars and biplanes. We had a lot of biplanes way out in the country where we lived. Some of them would land out in the fields and things like that. And I always dreamed of flying. And I'd get on top of my swing set and I'd watch them fly. And I just dreamed always of flying. But I will never forget it. I knew about cars, the automobiles, and I knew about airplanes. But this thing that I saw was not an airplane. It was not a car. It was otherworldly. And I have thought about that many times. Have you ever thought about it? This was definitely man-made. And I don't know if maybe back in the days of the pyramids, that perhaps mankind came to a point to where that they could travel to other planets. And that possibly these UFOs, as we call them now, we called them flying saucers in the 1950s. That's what I still call them, flying saucers. But these things are man-made. And I believe that mankind advanced so much that somehow or another they were able to space travel into space. And perhaps they're living on other planets that we don't know anything about. I mean, who's to say? But I believe that flying saucer I saw was man-made. But at the time, I'm going to tell you something, the fear of the unknown hit me. I had goosebumps all over me. I had a fear hit me. I was going to holler at it, but something told me, I think it was the angel of the Lord, told me not to do it and stopped me from doing it. And I did not yell. But I watched in utter amazement because I could see inside that flying saucer. It was lit up on the inside. You could see inside. Back in those days, the airplanes that flew in the sky at night, they had those bright lights on in their cockpit. But see, we've learned since then, modern technology and everything, to use red light. You use low red lights, and you can see in the dark, and you don't have that blinding white light. But see, that's why I'm saying that was man-made with the technology that we had back in the 1950s. It did not have any lights on it, just like our planes in the 1950s did not have any lights on it until people started reporting that they had seen lights on UFOs. So the military looked at that, and the CAA is called the FAA now, but back then, in my day, in the 1950s, it was called the Civil Aeronautical Association of America, the Civil Aeronautics Administration, I think is what they called it. And they became the Federal Aviation Administration later, I think in the 1960s, 1960, 61. I can't remember the exact date. But I'm telling you, I'll never forget it. The fear of the unknown, when it hits you, it stops you literally in your tracks. Have you ever had situations like that in your life? Please comment and let me know. I'm inviting you to hit the like button. It helps my channel to grow. And I'm inviting you to subscribe to my channel. I put up videos and I appreciate each and every one of you. Listen, you have a wonderful day. And hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. I am Grandpa Hickory. And I want to welcome each and every one of you to my videos. Thank you very much. Bye for now.